Check, baby, check, 1, 2. Getting a little bit of a late start here, ladies and gentlemen. Be with you shortly. Good morning, everyone. Getting a little bit of a slow start here. Had a big interview with someone a few minutes ago. Went right up till showtime, so we're a little behind.
You are free to do whatever you want.
Only see a couple of you out there. If you could, share this amongst your friends. Put it in a trade group. You know what to do. And I'm gonna do that right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just waiting for Pedro, but seems to be running a little bit late. As you can see from the screen behind me, he is in the house. But let's just get this show on the road. I know, you need that intro. Let's get ready, baby! Welcome, everybody. As I always say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show we call DYOR Live. Just like it says right there. See, it says it right there, so it must be true. Ladies and gentlemen, 72,000 Bitcoin. We are underneath the average purchase price for Michael Saylor. That's right, 74,000. We'll talk about that later. Get on the right page of the old rug pull book of rugs. Welcome everybody out there. Thanks for joining us. Crypto unicorns in the house today. Thanks for joining us. Oh, and he has a Michael Saylor, or she, I don't know who, is a Michael Saylor PFP. Michael Saylor sad today. I'm sad. Although that's his average price, 75,000, whatever it is. His average acquisition cost is 52,000 or something like that. So he's got some ways to go. But if you've been listening to Pedro, 52,000 is in the cards. Speaking of Pedro, where are you? Earth to Pedro, where are you? All right, I'm gonna take this moment now to, since we're running a little late, I didn't have time to social media any of this. So I'm going to do that right now. There's Mr. Pedro, he's coming on right now. There's Mr. Pedro. I hear him there. There he is. His camera's looking at the center of his chest, but might need to be straightened up a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, I already told you who I was and everything I'm all about. But this man is Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, and the person I don't think he turns his heat on in his apartment. Save those bucks, why? So he can have more capital to trade and earn a living on. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
No.
This beanie is because literally, I didn't comb my hair after I got out of the shower last night.
Hey, you don't know how many times I wanted to come on here and just put a hat on and just be like, screw it, wearing my hat. Trust me, I get you.
All right, well let me See if it works.
Oh, remember, Pedro, you had this bush for years.
I did.
This unmanageable bush. And sometimes I'd get the indigenous man or homeless man. I didn't know who. But now you look sharp, even when you think your hair is not right. It looks perfect. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Pedro Garcia. As I was pointing out, above my head, 72,000. Underneath Michael Saylor's average price of 74 or 5,000. But still above his average acquisition cost, which is 50-some thousand. Remember, he was buying, when he could buy, if he put $1 billion in, he'd get, 100,000 coins a long time ago. And so his average acquisition cost is a lot less. Like Pedro and I've been warning him, I'm sure he didn't take any of our advice at all, that dumping billions of dollars into it right now for just a little marginal gain isn't really going to help you out a lot. Just introduced a lot of risk to you. But I'm sure he's thought of this. He said he had 13 major what-if plans when he was at Bitcoin Nashville 2 years ago. And so if he had 13 what-ifs, one of them included price going to 72,000. So I'm sure he's fine, because if he wasn't, the market would be absolutely freaking out, wouldn't it, Pedro?
Yeah, well, I think he's not fine. And he would top off, and people kept telling him, don't top off. Like clockwork. I think what's interesting, we talked about this idea that if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to end up screwing himself. So if we have a huge retracement, he's not going to have the capital. And I almost played it in a way where it might have been smarter for him just to wait. Just simple as that. Just wait.
Yep. And
then wait for a pullback in case if it does. Because you can always let that money sit in cash and earn 3 to 4% on it. So it's silly that he's now, instead of, he bought, I remember when he bought at that 100,000 mark, and then he literally bought at the peak of almost the 120,000. I was when it came back and it pulled back to here, I think it was 120. They went to 126. He's I'm going to buy back and I was okay, you're starting to pull back and buy. Smart. And then we had the huge crash, it literally dropped down to 104,000. So it's one of those moments that I was just come on, bud. At least listen to some of your trading friends that you have around you. I know that they were telling you, hey, buy at these lower levels, man. It's going to come back down there. Hopefully he's able to get in. Now we're coming down to this next level here, which is roughly going to be that 68,000 to 64,000. We've talked about this now.
Sorry, my mic's been off. So hold on there, Pedro. You just transitioned right into Bitcoin, but we started late, so I don't have any other topics to bring up right now at the beginning of the show. But I did want to say, Pedro Garcia, let us know what's going on with Bitcoin.
Yes. All right. So let's say we get this in 2 minutes. Okay. Go ahead. No, actually, say that again so we can get the snippet.
Pedro, Bitcoin's moving down. What's going on with Pedro? Bitcoin's moving down. What's going on with Bitcoin the next day or so?
All right, excellent. So basically, we're starting to see the sell-off. We talked about the 8-period moving average. I thought we were going to pull back up to the 85,000 and then continue down, but the sellers were nope. And so we saw the pullback come in. It barely petered out. We gapped up a little and then came back down. And so now I'm expecting us to come tap that 60,000 to 64,000 area. We've talked about these levels here now for almost a year, actually.
Yeah,
since March.
You have been bringing those levels up.
Yeah. It's all right, we're coming back down, boom, and we didn't. So that's why I'm looking at this now. I'm looking at these levels here, that 67,000, because this has been traded through. The next level that has not been traded through, which there's fresh liquidity, is down at the 67, 64,000. Then from there, I'd expect to see us get down to that 56 if we don't stop. I think we're going to stop at that 67 to 64,000 and probably consolidate for a while and then see it go up. So that's my nutshell thought process, my 1 cent for BTC the next day.
All right, thank you, Pedro. Now let's get into the talk. What the hell happened this morning with Bitcoin? It just, I'm I was on a video conference earlier, Pedro, talking with someone, and they were sharing their screen, and they were watching NASDAQ just kind of move quickly in one direction, and I'm over here, I got the Bitcoin thing over here on this monitor, and I'm like, and it just go pew, and my first thought was, damn, I'm busy, so I'm not focused on that where I could have made some money. But what I was doing was worthwhile, as you know. What the hell happened today? Was there news this morning? Was there numbers released? Did Trump speak?
Yes, both, all three.
Great.
All right, so we had numbers that came out. Long story short, some were good, some were bad. It was kind of a mixed market. That's why we kind of saw the S&P 500 kind of go up and come down. But ultimately, then you also had sentiment of Besant speaking. Besant was basically saying some things about how you kind of wanted to crush the market in a sense, right? Because there is an important thing to understand that the market sentiment is not, if the market sentiment is up, right? The stock market, we're seeing it push up. But I keep talking about that jobs are not there. Jobs are not there. We are seeing potentially things picking up. We're seeing things literally starting to get going, but they're not there yet. You know what I'm saying? And so because of that, you can't have the divorce happen for that long. You're just not going to, because ultimately when corporate entities start laying people off and then people stop having money to buy things, then we start to see a crash potential or some cracks in the market that basically say, hey, these numbers don't hold up to what you're saying. And so those corporate entities in which the markets are based off of start to show weakness. And then the global market starts to turn around. So the people in the trenches, or the soldiers in the trenches, the people in the trenches, in the streets who are struggling, ultimately are not the one, are going to be the ones that really tell the truth, which basically are saying we can't buy things. Now, we've now talked a few times about not just inflation, but deflation happening first, right? How we had, and we've already know that Lay's chips, a lot of people have been talking about this, as well as a lot of the fast food places, they're dropping their price. Absolutely. And additionally to that, I mean, yes, exactly, because people don't have the money to pay the pricing.
Well, and fast food is ridiculously expensive now. I mean, it's like, you're like, whoa, the lady the other day, I mean, this is Canadian money, but I'll say it in, like, for a thing, we went to the thing, it was $19. And I'm like, I'm sorry, did you say $19? I mean, it didn't register, I was thinking $8, or it could be $9. It was $19 for, I remember paying $2.14 for the same meal.
Yes.
At the McDonald's, and now it's like $19. What?
Yeah,
it's too much.
Absolutely. And in
the rent's too damn high.
Well, here's the thing. I think it all comes back down to the 70s statement. Where's the beef? Right? So
where's the beef? Square fish swim.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
That was the partner. I don't remember if you remember that one. The best Wendy's one was Where's the Beef? The second one was old Clara saying, looking at their fish, the McDonald's fish sandwich, and she goes, how does square fish swim?
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome. I didn't know that one. That's funny. But jump back into the point here. And I think it's really important to elucidate on this, which I've already done, but I want to bring this more to a concise area. People right now are struggling to keep paying for things that they weren't able to. You could go to literally Taco Bell, buy a set of 10 tacos for $15, right? Soft tacos, sour cream, maybe you're going to throw in, I remember when those were $15, right? 15, $12 for a box of tacos. Now you're paying $30 and nothing's changed. You still have the artificial meat, ground beef in it, half rat and half whatever. And then in addition to it, but here's the thing though, it met the need, it made you full, and then you were able to go to bed that night, right? In that same sense, now it's $30 and going, I think it peaked at like 35. And then now they're starting to see it pull back because people are not going to pay that. They're just not. They're like, I'd rather go buy some ground beef at the store and create my own tacos because they're better. So it's going to be really interesting to see now, as companies realize, okay, we can't keep charging. The government numbers of good jobs, right, or jobs coming in are now showing there aren't good jobs. And so you're seeing now people pull back buying in the real economy, which basically that pullback on that is basically pushing the government or the sales of their for their products down. And so they have to pull back, they have to lower prices, which is deflation. And it's the counter thing in which I've been saying we're going to have deflation come in before we see inflation. We are still in an inflationary
market.
Yeah, we're still in an inflationary market. Yes, the U.S. dollar is dropping. We're still in that same world. But the thing is, here in America, it's not going well.
Ooh.
And so this is where we need to see the deflation happen. People start buying goods and services. There's going to be a crash in the housing market and a few other things.
Pedro, speaking of inflation, have you seen the oil price in the past 5 minutes?
I have not. Let's check it out here real quick. It's going up. It's went up. Jumped up from $63 to $65. Wow.
Yeah, in about 9 minutes, 11 minutes.
Wow, that's a big jump, peoples. Oh, that's almost 10%. That's crazy. No, 5%. I'm sorry, in 5 minutes.
And trust me, the audience understands your percentages as general categories.
Yeah. Sorry, like everybody knows, not 10%. I meant more like 5%, 4%.
Patrick Stefanek in the house. Patrick, hey, welcome. Welcome to the show. Really appreciate it. I'm sure he's watching the crude oil with the major traded commodities. And
yes.
That's a big jump. I don't have my news screen up or any news feed, so I don't know what news thing caused that.
What was interesting, I think, in Colombia, what was it? The president who was talking about the whole entire drug cartel craziness?
I wasn't following that either. That would be great if it would address it and be like, all right, we're finally done with this. Let's just kill them all.
Well, what I think is interesting is that it kind of. So he basically explained. I don't know if it was the president. Now I'm second guessing myself. Give me a second. I watched the guy speaking. I just didn't know who it was, but I know he was a major official. What major?
Oh, I didn't realize they left this timer going. Welcome everybody to the show. A bunch of viewers have come on both X and Rumble recently. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. As I always say, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. The man in this box next to me is Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. Where our show usually runs 12 to 2. Got a little bit of late start here today. It's Eastern time. And sometimes we're on at night in the Space Lounge, as we call it, and variable days and variable times. And we talk generally about the biggest markets, financial markets that day traders talk about. Bitcoin, crude oil, commodities, precious metals, that type of stuff. In the big trade indexes, NASDAQ, S&P 500, that type of stuff. And then we talk about the politics and regulation that goes around that. We're not like a lot of shows are just a guy with a chart and he's trying to snipe a few ticks here and there. We don't really do that because neither Pedro or I have the attention span for that. And we like to talk on our show. And we also like to answer questions. So if you've got questions, join the chat. Ask a question and we'll give you an answer. Hopefully it's a good answer. Hopefully it's a good answer. Anyway, so welcome everybody to the show. We really appreciate it. Remember, if you're watching on X on your desktop, open it up and put us in a new window. Because there is a broadcast screen that has a chat box, just like YouTube. You got to get to it though. It's a little bit more difficult on X. So thank you for everyone that's watching us over there. And of course, thanks to everybody watching us here on Rumble and watching Bitcoin break down. And I still in the footer down there, I have the girl holding the $75,000 price, but obviously I got to switch that. Got to switch that to the 70,000 incoming soon price.
Yes, it's real interesting. Today's Wednesday, so that means there is the Wednesday. Where's it at? Calendar. Nope. Works. Here we go. Let's see what they said. For it to go out, that means that there is a lack of supply coming in. What time is it? 9:30, 10, 11, 12, 12:30. Okay, boom.
Was there a
boom,
crude oil inventories
9:34,
today?
and
Did like a big tank farm explode or something?
Crushing crude oil inventories. Boom. So lack of inventory means that there is not enough oil inventories.
Oh, good lord. Sorry about that, everyone. Didn't realize that had audio.
Okay. Yeah. That's not that big of a deal. I mean, yes, it is, but that shouldn't have made the price jump so hard. Non-manufacturing prices and unemployment today was interesting. Saw an increase of what was actually being expected. It's actually 666 or 66.6, which was in January. So that's probably a negative omen. A lot of traders
People will freak out about that.
Yeah, but that was at 7 o'clock, so that'd have been 10 o'clock. Non-farm, saw that coming. Drop in jobs. Like I said, a lot of these have already been what we've been expecting. So it's not like we're being like, oh my goodness, what happened, right? It's like,
right.
We've seen this. We've expected this. Isn't anything that is. Hey, can't I?
Bitcoin continuing its run down here. 70. While you're doing that, Pedro, I'm just going to bring up my screen for a second here.
My favorite.
I am just slow on this
page
today.
markers. My favorite page marker is no longer working. What's going on?
What the? Why did that just change there? Hold on, let me put this back here. Copy. Remove. One. Paste. There we go. All right. Oops, that was the wrong button. In these days when if I was, like I said, why does it show that? Why it shows? All right, I'll have to use the main button. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is let's look at it real quickly from my point of view. Was watching Bitcoin last night. It was it had jumped up, as I always say, jumped up above the 200 period moving average, and it did it on the 1 hour chart. That means it went through it on the 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart, 15-minute chart, half hour chart, and whatever increment you want, and then it did it on the 1 hour chart. Super bullish signal. It's gonna go up, but. And I did make a trade on it, and I did catch one small candle and made a little money last night going long. And then, Pedro, what did I do? I forgot I remembered your cardinal rule. And the cardinal rule is, where did my trade? Sorry, my system's all at askew here. The cardinal rule is, what is the trend? Well, that's gold. The trend in Bitcoin is down. The overall trend in Bitcoin is down. Here's the daily chart. It's going down. And I was fortunate. In my Bitcoin trade that I don't know, one of these candles. Oh, this is the day chart. In candle last night, after the mini Bitcoin opened on the CME, that I caught a little bit of a long. But ultimately, I broke a rule, Pedro. I broke the rule, and in the style that I'm not super expert mode, that I hopefully will be one day, is that you only trade with the market. If the market's going down, you short. If the market's going up, you go long. Because generally, majority of the trades want to follow the trending market. And so that was my lesson for last night. I actually wrote it down in the book of rug pulls here. The great book of rug pulls that I have here. I wrote that down as, remember, because eventually I'm going to have a proper trade plan. And when I develop it, that's in it. Follow the market. However, I'm up today for Bitcoin, so I'll have and for this part of the day at least, until it reopens at night, I'm done trading, and I have a positive day. So that's the key part. Like to share my knowledge of doing things wrong. And most of the time, as we all know, in anything having to do with money, Pedro, when you do something wrong, it costs you a lot of money. I was fortunate last night that I did something wrong. Or I shouldn't say wrong, I should say not according to plan. And I made a few bucks. So.
Luckily. Very rarely does that happen.
Right.
Well, the market's very harsh on you.
All right, Patrick, see you soon. Crypto Mike in the house, thanks for joining us. Look how he did the emojis there. He did them with the you and I, the emotes with the flashing siren lights around it. Appreciate that, Mike. That looks pretty good.
I'm messing.
Pedro,
I forgot.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. I wanted to talk real quick. Guess what I see on some of my shorts?
Poo stains? Yes. What are you looking at, Pedro? What's going on in the market?
I'm actually watching during you had it's actually starting to circulate over here. What's this called? The swamp. I forget what it's called. The swamp creatures, crypto creature swamp things.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. But anyways, it's some of your small little snippets.
I noticed in my other accounts they're starting to cycle. They're coming back.
Uh-huh.
We got a new viewer on Twitch, King Trey, I think that's what it is. Anyway, thanks for watching. He says, finally, English. Well, mi español es muy terrible, so we don't talk Spanish much. El no speako Frencho. El no speako Frencho, so there's no French. And Ich bin ein Berliner is the only German I know, but I'm not. I got my taxes and I'm trying to hear something good and invest. And this is a good place to do it. Just not today. Unless you're going short. If you're trading futures, today is a good day because the market's moving. Remember, when you trade futures, doesn't matter if market's moving up, good news or bad news, down. As long as the market's moving, as long as you have volatility, that's what you like to see. If you just want to buy and hold, then that's a tough one. It's a tough one, but we'll give it a shot here. If you have questions, please ask us. We're here all day. Bring your friends. Try the veal.
Try the veal. All right,
Pedro, Pedro, what's next here on your screen?
All right, so we're actually going to do a little bit on Bitcoin. So look at this. I think it's really important to be paying attention to is there's a few moving averages that we're actually following. One being the 4-hour period moving average here. We keep switching from the 4-hour to the 8-hour here, and then on the entry time frames, you can see here that you can see how the 8 period is being trending here. So whatever trending mechanism you use, let yourself see which way a market wants to go. Make sure you're paying attention to that, right? Ultimately, I think Bitcoin down at this 67, potentially 65 area here is a good place. That's where I'm looking to be buying. I do not, again, this is not financial advice. We're not here. We're not tax people, but I just let you know what I'm looking at and where I'm looking to get in at. That's definitely, and we've been talking about these levels for almost a year of that 67, 65, potentially 60,059 area for BTC. Those areas here is because you can see here that this is where we saw the origination of the big push, right? It's at these levels, 65, 55 area, where you just saw it just skyrocket, right? And then it tried coming back. And then we found support at that 75,000. Now back here, I was screaming that I expected the market to come down into the 55 area, okay? And this area here was one of those areas. The reason why is because of all the buyers sitting here. But now the fact that we're coming down here and this is a part I want to talk about. It's moving quickly. The fact that we're having a flash sale here so quickly as it's coming down here from that 90,000 all the way down to the 70,000 shows me that we are at the beginning of the year. Remember what I always talk about, that wick for the year. And this is typically what the institutions want to put in. Remember, we're trading with institutions now. So with that said, those institutions want to push a market down first so they can get it on the cheap, then push the market up. Talked about how I didn't think they would go below the 75,000, but obviously they are. So their next position that they're trying to get down into, there's two things we could see. Now, dare I say this could be heresy, okay? If you're a religious follower of Bitcoin, you're not going to want to hear this. But if you look at the yearly 8-period moving average, okay, which institutions look at, can see that there is a 49,000 mark, which is that 50,000 mark. Okay, we could see this thing come down, bounce off of that, and then see it go through. My expectations of this market is real simple, that they're trying to flesh out the weak hands. Absolutely. And so this is where I'm looking to be picking up down at these levels here. And then from there, and I expect us to see this in the next 2-3 weeks, honestly. Because in February, that's where I want to see it go down to. I can't see that. Let me look at that again.
I'll read it to you. King Trey says, I'm one of the few people that had 10 Bitcoins in 2016. I was the only one that believed, and I let people convince me I was in a pyramid scheme, so I sold them. Look at it now. Oh.
Here's the thing. In 2006,
good news. Price is coming down.
Yeah, I was going to say, in 2016 right here, price was around 20,000-30,000, right? And so here's the thing. I always let everybody know. I remember talking to a guy who got in when the CME got involved, right? And then they pushed the market all the way up to 20,000, and then it dropped all the way to 3,000, right? And so I know that sounds, and it seemed like a pyramid scheme. It's really important to understand, okay? It goes from 20,000 to 3,000. It literally lost almost, 80-90% of its value there. So I'm not going to look, it looked like it, but at that time we didn't understand the idea of the blockchain and the scarce money, right? Because we had never lived, and this was pre-COVID, right? The US dollar was still incredibly strong. Back, we're talking almost 10 years ago, right? And so now that the devaluation of the US dollar because of COVID, and now they're talking about quantitative easing again, right? Where they're going to start because people are getting afraid of, right? People becoming afraid. So this is where we're seeing gold rise. We're seeing copper rise. We're also watching silver rise, right? Now, granted, we're just seeing a pullback, But if we stay, if Trump keeps talking about we might have to keep buying and keep, when I say buying, I mean keep increasing the debt of the U.S. markets, then we're living in an inflationary cycle, inflationary environment, even though we're having deflation actually happening here in America, because institutions like McDonald's and other corporate entities that deal with food and raw resources, they need to get the American people to buy their goods. America is not buying the goods. We're only being very smart in what we're buying, right? Because we only have a limited amount of income coming in. And you can only work 16 hours in so many days because jobs are limited right now. And so people are holding on to their money. So in that circumstance, and we've seen times like this where this has happened before, what goes up? We typically see things that are limited go up, i.e. crude oil, right? We'll see right now we've got Bitcoin. So back in 2017, you were smart. Back in 2017, you were wise. The problem is you didn't foresee why Satoshi Nakamoto created, which was back in 2008. He saw what we are in right now. If you read the Bitcoin paper, he talks about the numbers, but the reason behind it was because the infiltration of so much liquidity into the US dollar and into the debt markets that he said we needed sound money. So that's why this was created. So you weren't in you just didn't know the cycle of people around you just wasn't the best. But it doesn't mean that you still
Congress need to stop spending money.
That ain't gonna happen.
And, I don't know where you are, King Trey, but if you're in California, no, wait, you just said you're on lunch break. You're not in California. But the people in California believe, we need money, just raise taxes. We'll just keep taxing. We'll just take more of your money. They take, some people pay more than 50% in tax. And every economist on the planet says you can't do that. You pay more than 50% in tax, everything will quickly fall apart. You cannot do that. Yet they do that.
Yeah, he's on the East Coast. So depending on where you're at, right? If he's on lunch break, so probably somewhere, maybe in
Central Time
Florida.
Zone, probably.
Yeah,
or could be East Coast. Anyway, King, he says, I just had a weird feeling American money wasn't going to be worth nothing in the future. That's a long way off because right now the whole world operates on it. But you are having to deal with a deflation of your purchasing power. If you have I'm in Texas from Louisiana. Yeah, if you have just short-term investment issues, this is not, the deflationary cycle isn't going to hit you too much. But if you're holding year over year, think about it. Since 2020, we've lost 20% of our purchasing power, Pedro. Did you know that when you compound the inflation rate from 2020 till now, you've lost 20. If you had $100,000, it's got the purchasing power of $80,000 just because you're letting that cash sit in the bank. And unless you were in Bitcoin or gold, if you're in gold or silver, well, you made out like a bandit.
It's actually more than that. You know that, right? Because the inflation of money being put into the system, we printed over 40% of monies, and because of COVID, that was shoved into the economic situation of COVID, and because of it, it deflated the value for that's not being fully go type that into 2019 with the added portion of money printing that we saw that was put into the market, into the regular people. That is what kills people. That's really what killed people. I know a guy who made $100 million that year. I'm not joking. Sold his business for $100 million, and literally he got a haircut of 40%. 40% because of the money printing that happened during COVID. So it's super important to look at that, the full scope of that. But as we're watching BTC come down, you can get in at these low values. I know it sounds crazy, like $50,000, but as these low at $50,000, $60,000, but these are good pricing. right? Compared to, let's say, in 20 years, 30 years, when we're sitting at a Bitcoin of $500 to $1 million, right? Like each Bitcoin, and all of a sudden you bought a Bitcoin for 50,000, or you bought whatever you could afford at 50,000, 40,000. Again, this is not financial advice. This are things that I'm looking to take advantage of. So they're just some of the things that I give to you. If you can decide what you want to do with it.
You know what's funny, Pedro, is that for those of you that are new, Pedro joined me on the show about 3 years ago. And I was the crypto bro at the time. And this chart here that he had on with all the lines on it. And I was just looking at that chart. And before I would complain, I'm like, Pedro, that chart's too busy. All these lines on it. Nobody's going to understand it. And because I did, I was like, what the, all this kind of stuff. What is this stuff? Just confusing people. And I was just looking at your chart and I'm like, yep. I still periodically ask now. I'm like, oh, I don't understand why you have that one. And then you'll detail it a little bit more and I'll be, oh yeah, okay. But before, and Patrick knows what I'm talking about here. It's, these lines, what they mean and stuff like that. But a while ago, I didn't have any idea what they meant. I was like, them's just lines, man. Them just lines.
Lines.
And now I was looking at it and I was quickly analyzing your chart. And then realizing what I was doing, and I'm like, this is a big step. And Patrick mentioned a course I was going to take. Apparently, he got the word really quickly. But yeah, I guess I would. Thankfully, I have a little background from listening to the man in the box above me, and now I do understand what all these lines mean.
And I look forward to when he starts to say, "Nah, bro, that's not correct. Look at this," and I'll be like, no, this, and this. And they're like, no, this. And that's when you guys, our audience, are going to really start to get ahead. Like when you start to have arguments between traders, really fighting over price point, and we question each other, which then we think about, am I wrong? Am I right? What's going on? Right? And then all of a sudden, it's like you guys get the benefit of traders discussing which way they think a market's going to move. And that's when benefits really start happening with the viewers, when you start to see disagreements. And again, we'll be honest, like we can see the trend is down right now. But the thing is he'll be like, well, I expect the pullback down. I don't think we're going to see a pullback. We're seeing volume really pick up. It will continue down. And then I'm like, no, dude, it's going to pull back. It will hit liquidity right here, pull back to the 8, and then continue down, right? And so that's when you're like, well, I could take the medium of that and say, all right, if it comes up, we already know. What did he say? I can't read it.
Patrick was behind for a few minutes, and he caught the when you referenced your shorts, and I took it as your shorts that you were wearing.
Oh yeah, I just got it.
He just got that. King Trey, just so you know, this channel is what we call edutainment. We educate you, but we also entertain you, and it's this terrible humor that is the educating part. He says, I just invested on Coinbase and Phantom Wallet. Coinbase, great. Phantom Wallet is a good DeFi wallet to have as well. Just make sure you're not crypto broing and degenning. If you're really investing, there's a difference between investing and crypto broing in trying to 100x money in DeFi and stuff like that. Both valid things to do. If you're a crypto, I was degen, trying to 100x, 1000x. You had some Shiba that apparently went bonkers. Good. That's great, but not normal. Normal is buy and hold, like you said. We're traders. Well, Pedro's a trader. I'm a student. And so we're working on things that go up and down. And so you'll hear a lot of the things that we talk about have to do with trading, not necessarily investing and holding. But a lot of the same topics apply. So if you like our show, come back every day. We do have a lot of people that come and say they're going to stay, and then we never hear from them again. So I'm addressing you specifically. Get your ass back here and learn.
In addition to that, I also want to say we're also primarily on Rumble. So if you want to come on over to Rumble, BS with a lot of us, we've got, or on YouTube, but the primary people are on Rumble, and we just have a good time. So either way.
And if you watch on Rumble, here's the difference. I don't know how Twitch does it. Watch on YouTube, and then you check your email or put your phone in your pocket because your boss is walking by. It turns the audio off. On Rumble, if you're using the app, you can put your phone in the pocket and still listen.
I put in the earbuds and. The other part behind it, I think what's really interesting to pay attention to, well, is a lot of the altcoins, right? So I'm looking at a lot of these altcoins, and even though we're seeing BTC sell off, you can see the altcoins are not selling off as hard. They're not falling between this low here. But I thought that was
they can't get much lower, Pedro. I mean, they've been taking an absolute beating.
Beating it up, like not getting knocked out. He got knocked up. But what's interesting is that holding though is what's interesting to me. Is like a lot of the ones that I'm looking like BAT, basic attention token, right? Doing okay. I mean, it still has a red day, but it's not looking like any of the other guys. ICP is sitting. Like, I just thought it was really interesting. It came up, bounced off the 8, and it's just sitting at this level. So I'm looking at a lot of these going, are we getting ready for a rally up from these altcoins? Because the reality is we should be seeing a drop off here, right? We should, and we're not, And so for me, I'm looking at this going like, we're holding. We are holding here. So we'll see what happens, but it's one of those ones that I think just paying attention to. A lot of these holders right here, like you said, they're at those lows. And so is this one of the ways that people are pulling money out and looking to potentially be getting in? All the major 10, as you can see, for altcoins are selling off. They're following BTC. When you look at Ethereum is coming down to a liquidity area of that 2117, which is nice, right? If we could see it come back to that 1500, that'd be nice. BNB is coming back down the liquidity area of that 60 or 679 area here. I like this area here. I really like it down at that 520, right? If we could see it come back down, I don't think we'll see it stop there at the 679. The only thing that's going to hold it is going to be that 100 weekly period moving average, which is right now what we're hitting. This is what's kind of holding up the weekly on BNB. But ultimately, me looking at BTC, we're watching it kind of sell off and go below here to be touching these lower areas. So if we come down, if I start to see altcoins really, as we watch BTC sell off, if I see altcoins just hold steady and they hold the line, honestly, to me, it just screams that I'm expecting an altcoin run. Like, it just makes sense to me. So, yeah, the ones we're looking at, be ready. If it does, we start to see, and here's the thing, once we start to see the moving averages really just start to kind of come together and pinch up, that's when you know things are going to start to pop. So almost like a spring.
What's your you have a ditty for pop?
Pop it like it's hot.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Pop it like it's hot.
Pop it like it's hot. It's strong like bull.
Ethereum, $2,000.
Yeah.
XRP 150, Solana 90.
It was funny. I was on the breakfast show with Zach a couple weeks ago, and one of the guys that was saying, I said, "Look, I don't like the fact that it's going up," and on the show, they were like, "Oh no, Pedro." I said, "Listen, I'm not trying to bring like negativity here, but the fact that it's going up the beginning of the year here, I don't want to see that. I want to see it come down first. Put the demand wick." And one of the guys jumps on, forget the guy's name. He's like, "Nah, dude, you're absolutely right. We want to see it come down. Put that demand wick in." And I go, he goes, "Where do you think it's going?" I go, honestly, like 75 to 64, 63, potentially even like 60, And he was like, oh yeah, I see the same thing. And everybody in the audience was like, get these guys out of here. But Zach was like, nah, man, listen, I'm not going to not listen to Pedro. Like, you know, he was just like, you got to listen to him. Like, he's not trying to like hurt y'all. He's just trying to say, hey, be ready to buy up. So
for those of you that are new here, for a while now, Pedro and I have been talking about the market coming down here based pretty much on Pedro's technical analysis of what's going on with Bitcoin. And as a result, altcoins, you know, they just get eviscerated when Bitcoin tanks. People freak out and pull their money out of the market completely. But it was not well received. The information, when Pedro would say, hey, we're coming to 74,000 when we're at 120, people are like, out, like the GIF, get out. And they literally turned off his mic on shows and spaces. Like, nope, we won't be talking like that. And I'm doing the Leo DiCaprio thing. You know, he's going to be right. And it turns out he was right. He was right, and it came down to it, and it's been part, and as a result, it's been part of our the monthly plan here that I talk about here. We're trying to figure out the monthly plan for February and how February is gonna do. King Trey, these arrows we drew over here in February, in January, we drew all of these arrows. This is the month. This whole thing is the month of January. We drew all of these arrows on January 8th. On January 8th. Even this big drop at the end of January, I was like, it's going to happen, and this is why. Is based on Pedro calling this market for a while, a long time, and what he said was coming purely from looking at his charts, just looking at the charts and understanding where. The liquidity, all those lines on Pedro's chart are liquidity levels where he thinks the institutions have orders in to buy or sell or whatever. And where there's money in the market, like Patrick just put up here, that there's $76 billion, or there's $50 billion at 76,000. That's obviously institutional orders, or the massive groups behind the serious buying and selling. If you can figure out where those numbers are on the market, you know, that's a big advantage. And that's what Pedro did, and that's why we're here today at these levels, because he said it's coming down. And they boohooed him. They one of the Wolf of Wall Street guy, his group. They just shut you down. They're like, nope, get out.
I was on the Mario Nafal. I was literally on the Mario Nafal show. Like, really.
Out. Get out. We don't want you. It was just one of the, a lot of these shows and spaces and other things that you're on, it's moon boys. And we're going to the moon, it's Bitcoin, we're getting out of the banking system, all this kind of stuff. And so anyone that comes on and says, well, you might lose half your money or more by March, they're out. Get out. Yeah. Because the reason is that when you're realistic about the market, you don't get as many viewers. When it's a bull market and you're like, we're going to make money, it gives everyone hopium. That we're all gonna get rich here, and you can watch a million shows on YouTube and Rumble and everything, and they're all the same. Oh man, buy these 6 altcoins now. You're getting rich. Oh, get in before it's too late. Oh, blah blah blah. There's none of them say on the title, we're going down by half by February 4th.
Well, cognitive dissonance is a real thing. You want to know some. Bitcoin.com magazine. I've been on their podcast a couple times now. They've never
Bitcoin.com.
Yeah, that's what I say. Bitcoin.com.
It has nothing to do with magazine.
Oh, I'm sorry. But they have like a thank you. Bitcoin.com. Never ever poo-pooed me. If anything, Corbin, who's the CEO, was like, all right, let's talk. And I gave him like substantial reasons. Look, this is what's actually happening. This is what we're seeing in the market. We're seeing traders actually do this. We're watching big supply wicks happening. And so, you know, every time I've talked about the markets coming down to these levels, you know, fully, they've never disrespected me. They've never, ever once shut me down. They said, well, we'll see. And so multiple times now we've they brought me on and went, okay, you were right. Where do we go now? So shout out to bitcoin.com. Go check out their stuff. Got great news articles. I always, can't help but just love those guys. They're really good guys. But everybody else, like a lot of times, they're just moon boys, especially when it comes to crypto. And I get it. That's some money in their pocket. But nobody likes hearing negativity, especially when it comes to money. So respect to the crew out there over at BTC or Bitcoin.com. All right. Next, one of the things I'm looking at also is like ADA. So ADA, I'm watching again. It's playing hard right here at 27 cents. If we could, I want to say that 24 cents hit. Like that's gonna be the low. If they tap below this low here, I'm gonna pick up some for ADA. Cardano. What did Biden say?
Cardano. I don't know who said it. It was Kramer or Biden or whatever, but
whoever it was, yeah.
Cardano.
Yeah. So I'm definitely looking at if we could see ADA come down to this level here. I don't know.
ADA's gonna come down to this level, right? Oh, hold on a sec.
So this is 23 to 22, and then this is 15 to 11.
Ooh, sorry about that. But that little move right there it's doing here above my finger there,
Yep.
that looks like it's just setting up for like an insider to say, I'm done with this shit and dump more of it. That's what you forget about this, is that it's not, ADA isn't as well traded as Bitcoin or, gold, silver, or probably even coffee, sugar, cocoa, and orange juice. And there's one person that's an insider that's gonna dick everybody and drop it down to this next level.
Mm-hmm.
And his sale won't affect it that much, but it'll start the cascade of sales and long squeezes, and it'll go down. And that's frankly why I really don't trade these things anymore.
Well, I don't know. Like this is what I'm trying to say is like, look at the amount of buyers coming in on Monday. There's a lot of buyers coming in. Well, or maybe just a group of people, and then it comes down, and we start to see, like, I'm looking for the reverse of this, right? So if we go to BTC here real quick, right? And you can see here with BTC, like the biggest day buyers was right here, literally. That was on Monday. Look at the amount of buyers that came in at that 75. Okay, that's institutions coming in. The amount of buyers is crazy. It's nuts. Look, I mean, if you look at previous times of a huge amount of volume, right? Like that is what a top day of buying looks like, right? You can see here in regards to the volume. So for myself, looking at that, it's pretty simple, saying, hey, this market should come down, but that come down area is probably, like I said, it's starting to decelerate, right? That's what I'm looking for. For it to come with big buyers, boom, sell off, big buyers come in, boom, sell off, boom, big buyers come in at these little, the 75,000 is an institutional area. Again, the 67 to 65 is an institutional area. That 60,000 is an institutional area. They're going to be buying there. And so they'll start to dollar cost average because they're expecting to make their money up here when it reaches 200,000, 250, right? And so their analysis of buying it down here at the previous consolidation point, which is all right here. That's why you see me have these zones, because the previous consolidation period here is they'll come in, they went through, they pushed it up, they bought here, they pushed it up, okay, then they took profit, they let it drop off, okay, they're buying again at this level, and then this is what I expect to see, a higher low, and then see this thing go up. that is what I'm expecting. Again, it's not financial advice, but this is typically how we see the market move, right? You can see this here, boom, boom, boom.
Well, this is one heck of a, for you pattern traders out there, this is one heck of a head and shoulders. And you recognize that. You wrote it from 80,000 all the way down to 72. Made a nice trade there.
Yep. But either way, I just expect this to come down, pop it up again. And so that's why I'm seeing things. Obviously, Larry Fink has put a lot of money into this. I don't think he's going to allow his investment to look like he's an idiot. Or, you know what I'm saying? So he'll purposely most likely come in and buy these at these low levels, and then make his institutional buyers very happy. Obviously, they're not happy now, but they're going to be happy by mid-year to end of year is what I'm assuming. So I told a friend of mine who is in Congress, or going to be in Congress, I said to him, I said, look, because he was in a trade, he goes, I just need this thing to get back up down to 20. So I said to him, get out of the market now. Get in at the lower levels here. He goes, no, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, I'm telling you, that's what they're going to do. And so I'll probably be calling him like, look, did you get out? Tell me you got out. I told him these 75 to 62 areas, one of those areas that I'm looking at.
All right, Pedro, I brought up strategies. They just, I don't know if you noticed, but Strategies homepage used to talk about their company, and then it had a link to Bitcoin investing. They did away with the whole shebang and you just go to strategy.com, and it's just the info you want here, and that type of stuff. 3-month return, down 50%. 1 year return, down 65%. 65% 1 year. Base, long-term return 898%, which is good, but that's down a lot. His market cap of the let's see, hold on a minute. What am I not getting here? Where is the data? Oh, purchases. Here's what I'm looking for. Patrick, you're asking about this. Here's the important thing here. There's a couple of, let me see if I can do this. The important stuff here is average Bitcoin cost, 76,000. That's his average cost of all the coins he owns. Here's the really important number. This is his total acquisition cost. So it's kind of like he spent 54 billion getting all of these things. Owns 713,000 BTC. Clearly, his average cost is 76,000. But if you scroll through his data chart, you see he bought a lot more coins for a lot less money. So his average acquisition price is lower than his average cost.
Which is really where that's where you want to be, right? Like if I bought, let's talk about Tesla. Okay, let's say every month or every week I buy, $500 worth of Tesla. Okay. Well, when Tesla was down here at 130, right, I was buying four Tesla stocks. When it came back up here to 2, I was buying 2, right? When it came back down here, I was buying 3, 4. So as it climbed up, I was buying less for the same amount. But every time it sold off, I was buying more. So my acquisition cost was literally at a lower basis, because even though I was spending $500.
Pedro, you there? Oh, Pedro. All right, Pedro doesn't realize that he's quiet. Patrick, the 54 is not the number. You can probably go, if you put this whole spreadsheet into Grok or Copilot, it would probably, and say, give me his average acquisition, or give me his, the average, that's a good point, Patrick. That's a good point. I may not know what I'm talking about. I may be confusing something here. I'm going to have to all his bitcoins divided by. Well, let's just do the math here. I should have done this first before I opened my mouth. Go to divided by 54 billion. No, 54 billion divided by Pedro. You're quiet. Your link dropped. 713,502.
What did you guys miss?
The last probably minute and a half or so, 2 minutes.
So when I was drawing on the screen, you guys didn't see it? For Tesla?
Yeah, no, as soon as you started talking about Tesla, you talked a little bit about buying some here and then it was quiet. But anyway, Patrick, he's bought, as it shows here, 713,000. He paid 54 billion for him, so the average cost is 76. So yes, he's under his average cost. But there's figure out what the mean is or whatever. Technically, is he underwater? Yeah, technically he is. Cash flow wise, is he underwater? No. You can see they still have. If you go to his financials, they have 2 billion in cash sitting there. He needs to pay. This is what Michael said that's important. He needs to pay $2 million every day in dividends to cover his cash outflow, what he owes everyone that's invested in these various schemes that he has. So clearly, 2 million. That's 500 million a year. So if doing nothing else, he can pay all his dividends for essentially 3.5 years or so. If the price gets down even lower and he's got margin calls that we don't know about, well, then he's fucked. Then he has to start selling Bitcoin, and that'll depress the market even more.
Oh,
but I don't.
You start selling Bitcoin. You're talking. It's going to be It's going to be haywire.
I was reading one forum in which a guy says, I spend $10,000 a month on options, shorting the market in options, buying puts, just as insurance against Michael Saylor failing, because the dump in the market would be so big. But it would be big, but it would hit all those institutional buy areas. Unless, a lot of them would yank their orders out to see where the bottom would be. But they'll all get back in and it'll come back. It'll not to where, I can't guess how much it would come back, but it would come back with a flying force. But Michael will have been margin called. But he could be very screwed. But he does seem to have some room because he has cash on hand. He's predicted his outflow of cash. Like he said he missed the point. I think you must have missed the point. We're talking about Bitcoin Nashville, in which he said, we've got 13, what ifs that are serious, that all have a good chance of happening. I am more than certain that 1 or 5 of these what if, and he said one of them is which each Bitcoin is worth $13 million. But he referenced, we also have it going the other way too. And so they have a plan if Bitcoin hits $50,000. And if the plan goes to 20,000, yeesh,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and I think it's really important to understand this, right? One, this man, again, I'm not singing his praises, but I think it's important to understand this, that he thinks really logically, so much where the Jeffrey S, that people,
the island guy.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it fully because I don't want the algorithm. We're doing good on the algorithm here. That they literally said, I can't even figure out how to entrap this dude. He thinks so different. I don't even understand him. So the fact that they said that about him, because we saw it in all the stuff that was released, that I sat there, that actually made me feel good about him. I'm like, okay, he thinks that abstract that you can't even manipulate him, which means that he's probably seeing things that I'm not seeing, and I'm going to respect that and go, okay, this man, so it's hard to sit there and say, hey, you know what, You know, like he's that much of a weirdo that you can't even manipulate him, which, you know, which is good, which means he's probably thought things through, right? Like in relationship to this. So we'll see what happens. But on the back end, when you look at his share MicroStrategies, bro, has already come down to the 144 area. This area here, and it just sang right through it like butter, bro, like a hot knife. So I'm like, it had a small little reaction here. Right? Like we talked about that 144 area, the 141 area, that we should see a decent response back. No, man, it was 1 day bounce. And then literally just went back on track here, boom. Now, granted, it coming down in here, we talked about also that these jumps here from it coming close and then jumping up was not a good sign. It should cut through it. But the next level is that 100 level, right? This area right here, that one-on-one area here is one of those ones that I'm like, bud, like this is just worth, like I'm not going to buy right off the jump. Remember, I always talk about, I want to see demand wicks come in. Those are the bottom wicks at the bottom of the candle, right? At these, at the 1 hour and 2 hour levels, right? When we come in now, but I want to buy now at this level of that $100 a share, even south of $100. If Michael Saylor comes out like he is a genius, my couple grand going in sub $100 is going to be one of the greatest plays anybody has ever seen, right?
Pedro,
so
you know what we call that? That we're just bringing it up. The reverse Uno. You will have reverse Uno done.
Reverse Uno. So this is where I'm looking at going, all right, come on down. Like part of me would love to capture this. Like just, it would be an epic play. Epic play. So like, again, there's this play. And then I'm also looking at the MSTY play here. Still haven't got in yet. Still watching. I'm still waiting.
Well, there's a brutal, yeah. These things down 3 month, down 6, down lifetime, down 11%. Strike, STRK down.
Yeah.
I mean, everything. Well, at least this one at STRC, its 3 month return is only 0.
So my buy-in area on the MSTY, I have marked for $18, $17. Right, we talked about that level here based off of what I was looking at with the actual markets for what's his name? For MSTR, right? That's his stock. And right. MSTY is based off of his stock. So that's why I'm looking at MSTR.
Oh, the stock options.
Yeah, the stock options ETFs, right?
God,
and so
volatility. So I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's a part of it.
I'm looking at the implied. Oh, I hit the wrong button there. Let's turn you off. Where'd you go there? This volatility here, Bitcoin volatility, 44%, historical volatility 43%, implied volatility 53%. And if you're someone coming over from the stock market, where, you know, it's like volatility, well, it's 4%, Mortimer. Looks like a lot. We might have to de-risk. You're seeing implied volatility 55%.
It's just, dude, like the movement, because and it all has to do because of what's actually happening in the actual stock market. Like this is the part, like we're going to start seeing stuff just not make any sense. And not just the stock market, but also based off the US dollar, in with that based off the actual printing of money, right, with Trump. So it's one of those things that I'm watching going like, my goodness, man. Like what's his name? The new guy who is supposed to be the now I'm forgetting his name. Who's the new guy?
Kevin Warsh.
Yeah, Kevin Warsh. If Kevin Warsh is like, no, we're not printing any more money to you guys, right? Like, what if that situation happens and he goes, we're going to let the US dollar find some stability and then let people come in? That would be absent. Now, here's the thing. The Fed has always been the lender of last resort. But if he can convince the rest of the board to say, I mean, all he needs to do is convince 2 other people. Actually, it's 11, right? So if he can convince 6 people to say, we're not going to lend to America just yet, dude, you would have the most, it would be absolutely nuts. It would be worse than the Great Depression. And has anybody ever seen what the Great Depression looks like? Have you ever looked at the chart, what that looked like?
Pedro, I'm going to cut you off here for a second and do an ad here. So
yes, sir.
Be back in a minute here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my favorite parts of the show. And that is acting like a 1950s variety host thing where you're just talking about stocks and crypto and investing, and then you're like, so how's your laundry detergent there, Jim? Well, have you tried the newest Tide sensitive laundry detergent? Anyway, we're going to do one of these ads. I really enjoy them. And we're going to do it with me in this position. Ladies and gentlemen, got something good to talk about here. They can freeze your accounts. They can shut off your cards, lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks don't protect you. They control you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. Nope. This is not an IOU. It's real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can even buy, sell, and move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. There are limitations for Americans there. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using the Rumble wallet. Woohoo! Peer-to-peer and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours forever. Ladies and gentlemen, over here on the screen, this side of me here, right here next to me, guess I was covered by it half the time, is a QR code. If you're watching on your big screen TV, go up and hold that phone up there and learn more about Rumble Wallet. We use the wallet for the system here. Right below me here, there's a tip thing. So if you creators out there are watching and already have a wallet established, go ahead and send all your hard-earned money this way. Anyway, and I do have some Tether Gold in there, and what I do is I send that to other creators during their show, let them know that the wallet's being used, and they should do so the same. Anyway, thank you to Rumble Wallet for sponsoring this segment, DYOR Live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring Pedro back here. Welcome back, Pedro. Thanks for putting up with the ad there, as they say.
I want to point this out here real quick. What the Great Depression really looked like. Most people don't realize like how crazy it was. You can see at the peak of the Great Depression in August of 2029, right? It was at $31, and then from September, it gapped up to 31.86, and then it sold off to about 30, okay, which is about 5%. Then we saw it go up from $30 all the way down, and basically 3 years, right, to $4. $4, basically losing about 90% of its value. That is crazy. And then from there, bottoms out. And it takes about 12 years, 13 years, right? To see us climb up. World War II happens. America becomes the industrial producer for the rest of the world to help build the world and get it going. And that's why we see this huge, ginormous, that's enormous and gigantic in one moment to this, right? And so we're talking that's almost 100 years of a stock market just screaming up. If we see something where the stock market in America just implodes on itself, again, I'm just pointing this out. I don't think it's going to happen. But if the Federal Reserve doesn't become the lender of last resort, we could see one of the biggest issues of the stock market falling was literally because there was no liquidity in the market. So everybody would always sell and nobody was buying. That's why the term lender of last resort comes in. And it had to do with what happened with the stock market, right? So if they decide, okay, we're done with America, and you're saying, well, how do you know they're done with America? Well, I don't know. But the fact is that we know that Federal Reserves around the world are buying gold. Not buying US dollars, they're buying gold. America dollars have been the stability in the market, but they're buying gold now. And we're watching this happen in real time. So for me, I'm saying if this does happen, I'm looking for the greatest ride of my life. I'm gonna short this, and then I'm gonna buy back at bottom prices, right? And in that process, I'll probably just still keep doing this, but you won't be able to find me because, well, I'm gonna be, those people go down as legends, like, let's go, yeah, woo-hoo! Right? Ride that pony all the way down, man. So for me, I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but if it does, you guys understand what we would see is gold. We'd watch gold. Now this is gold, the ETF right here, with iShares, a company, but you can see here that it's paralleling what the gold market is doing with what we're seeing. Now what's interesting is that I've talked to a lot of my friends who are trying to actually sell their gold. They can't liquidate it. They're getting literally 80%, 70% of what the market value is, or what the market value is, 60% of, they can't sell it basically. So for 5,000, maybe they're getting it for 4,000, and they can't sell it at the peak prices that they're trying to. So it's really interesting to see that actual gold dealers are like, no, that's not the real price. We're not going to give it to you for that high. Some places are literally giving you a haircut of 30%. So it's pretty crazy to see what's actually happening here. We literally saw go from the high of 56 all the way down to 4,500. It's 1,000-point drop, right? It's 20% drop in literally 3 days. So these type of volatility is crazy. But ultimately, I think if we keep seeing the push of Federal Reserves buying gold, this is just a reprieve. We're going to continue seeing this up. And when you look at the US dollar is definitely had some huge sell-offs. You can see here we came with that new lower low in. We're obviously bouncing back up, but we're coming down to that 95,000, or excuse me, $95 to $94 area. Now this makes, if Trump can get those, and we keep talking about this, manufacturing, corporate jobs going, and real jobs, and people wanting to buy us, this does make America look very advantageous to want to do business with. A low dollar, your currency's high, right? Because the US dollar drops. And because of that, then it puts you in a good position to be able to buy stuff for cheap with America. America's known as a good manufacturing company. But it's really interesting to see what's actually happening. I'm looking for, where are you at? Boom, here we are, world. World ETFs, and is this, here we go. This is, I'm gonna just cycle through for you guys to see like the primary currencies of the world. This is the Australian dollar here. Look at the jump here. This is a huge jump. Look at the British pound. Look at the jump here. America drops, the American dollar drops, their currencies go up. You can see here, same thing, big pumps. And this all has to do literally stemming from, I mean, when you look at the Canadian dollar, because the US dollar started plummeting, their dollar has been picking up. So they can have the decision whether they want to go with America or not. But if you had to choose between China, who's kind of the big evil brother, versus just the mean brother, you know, I'm going to go with the mean brother, I think, which is America. Euro, look at the euro. Euro has literally jumped. Our lows here down in January 2025, how I was saying we see the US dollar drop, you would be able to play the euro up and capture it. And I talked about this being our position point. So like these, you can just see right up in here. It's absolutely beautiful. Brazilian real, Mexican peso, they've actually had a huge jump. Boom, look at that. You can see here, we have the New Zealand dollar. All of the rest of the world has been doing good because the US dollar itself has been doing. The US franc is definitely pushing up. You can see here, since Trump come in into office, boom, jump, have a good day. So it's really interesting to see that the rest of the world is doing very well based off the plummet of the US dollar. And so, like I said, I'm expecting to see us come back down to that 94, 95 area again, and just can see it consolidate there, and just stay there, because this is what Trump wants, so that he can make it very enticing for the rest of the world to want to do business with America. And then we will then start to accumulate more money coming in, and our trade deficit will start to do it will start to invert. And then in that process, and this is what he's trying to do. Now, whether you think it's feasible and the rest of the world will go with it, we'll find out. But it's amazing how we always say people vote with their wallet, not with their mouth. And so that's what I'm expecting to see. All right, my friend, that's about it in a nutshell.
I was just responding to Chris Pavlovsky on the CEO of Rumble on X. Just as many of you know, I'll screw YouTube. Rumble's our primary platform here, and they're introducing a whole bunch of new features this week on the platform for viewers, for streamers, for creators, all this type of stuff. And so Chris has been active on social media, and I'm trying to get his attention. Trying to get his attention on it. So if you follow us on X, look at my profile, look in DYOR Media's profile, and see where we're responding to Chris Pavlovsky, and highlight it. Respond, say, yeah, bitches, yeah. I'm doing that right now with my personal account. There we are, it's DYOR Media.
On a side note, we were talking about earlier with the Colombian officials who publicly discussed drug cartel, their leadership, and provided high-level analysis of their operation, is President Gustavo Petro. In recent statements, he has claimed that Mexico's Sinaloa cartel effectively runs the National Liberation Army, the ELN, guerrilla group from the top, stating that the owners of these structures are not Colombian commanders, and that foreign cartels, so like the Sinaloa, are the heads of the ELN, driving their involvement in cocaine trafficking and turf wars. Now, this is important because Trump has made it very clear that we're going to stop the cocaine and the drugs and the fentanyl production coming from any country. And we're going to go in and figure out a way. And the fact that and I thought it was the president, so I was right. President Gustavo literally stated, like, nah, I'm telling you, it's all over there. And he goes into detail, naming where to go, who is actually the commanders of the clan, like in detail. I didn't want to go into everything that he says, but you can look it up. And so he's literally going, Trump, it ain't us anymore. Yeah, it used to be, but bro, it ain't us. We don't need you to come up in here, right? Like, and so Trump's like, what's up?
I was saying, well, I speaking of Mr. Trump, I love his conversation that he had with the president of Mexico, President.
He's like, want us to come and help?
Guggenheim or whatever her name is, I can't remember. Yeah, he literally said, look, we can take care of this today if you want. Just invite us in for help and they'll all be gone. And she was like, nope, sorry, we're a sovereign nation, and he's like, we'll respect your sovereignty. All you have to do is ask us for help. And we coordinate a lot of things, anti-drug this and anti-drug that, but we know that is just cutting it off little. If you want us to stop this, we will. And we're going to, Pedro, whether she likes it or not, you mark my words, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it there, and we're going to do it in Colombia, and we started in Venezuela. Cut the head off right at the top. And we're, strangling that nation. We're giving them all an example. And if I was a drug cartel member, I would pack up my money and go to Switzerland and say, I'm just retire. Just like, I'm out. Go to move to Australia or something. Just say,
yeah.
I mean, here's your opportunity. Call in ArcLight. The ArcLight, that's the B-52 bombing runs that they used to do in Vietnam. And ArcLight, proceed, execute, the line from Apocalypse Now. And just let the military come in and bomb all your shit. Meanwhile, your money's off. You scrolled it off. Just bye-bye. We're out.
Listen,
done.
Just do what the Iranians are doing right now. They're literally just funneling their money out of Iran and trying to put that money. Dude,
it's going.
Dude, it's
the
so
Bitcoin
bad.
trackers, the crypto trackers, they're on it, man. They're like, nope.
So good, dude. They are so good at it. Like, it's so impressive. I'm sorry.
I know.
Like, it really is, dude. All you crypto junkies that are not junkies, but like degens that just follow the blockchain and where things go, and it is impressive. Bravo. All right, side note, keep going. Like, but they follow the lead of what, like, and then ultimately, look, you can run. You're not going to be able to hide, though. Like, America is going to come and find you, but you might have 10, 15, 20 years out there. But sooner or later, they're going to find you, and, they're going to do what they're going to do. But at least get going. Because why are you going to sit there and try to, like, fight like a mob of pit bulls? Like, when you barely got a BB gun comparatively. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about the devil dogs, the Marines, right? Like, so the pit bulls, anyways. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like, but what you were saying with the idea behind what he's doing and him pointing out all this craziness, I thought was so interesting. And he just simply says, like, look, these are the clans, and he does it in a public forum. And I was listening to a few other people talk about it, going like, well, he could be lying and trying to, like, kind of point people away from him and let him get ahead. But either way, I mean, America, like you said, we're not going to, like, just because you snitched on your brother doesn't mean we're not going to come and, mess you up. We still come. We're going to go over there first and say, yeah, this is what's up. What's up, my brother? What's going on?
I never use this scene, Pedro, the close-up scene with the TV in the back.
Yeah.
Yet, like, every third button I hit that's not set up to do that brings this scene up. And I'm just like, I'm trying to hunt down a bug in my Stream Deck, and it's driving me nuts.
It's all right. Well, I like the fact it says Bitcoin.com. Shout out to my boys over there. What? Orban, what?
Yeah, that's that. No, this thing for that Bitcoin.com thing, they are not a sponsor of this show.
No,
we're trying to get the attention of their sales group or their marketing group. And Pedro knows the people over there, but we want them to see how cool it looks on our show.
Well, and the fact that we are climbing up in our viewership. I mean, I've actually even stopped sharing us, and we've been consistently at 15 to 20 people every single day. And so I'm like, I wanted to see for like what's up?
At once. It totals up to
Yes.
be 100 or more.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I stopped sharing this and doing all that because I wanted to see really where we're sitting. And the fact is once I start to do it and somebody else starts to do it again, it should jump up to about 30 to 40 in all reality. So that's going to be really interesting to see what happens there. I'm kind of excited about that.
Patrick, he's just referring to sending the link out and reposting and doing social media stuff. That's
yeah,
what
that helps us out. Yeah, that helps us out quite a bit.
King's got to run today. Thanks for joining us, King. Really appreciate it. A new viewer coming to us on Twitch, but I think he's going to join us on Rumble. He's downloading the app and all that type of stuff. Participate in the conversation. My great comment machine here kind of gets everyone's comments on the screen, but the Rumble chat has a lot of stuff I don't even address. People talking to each other and that type of stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
But so thank you, new viewer. He says I'm finna gonna bring my friend on. So I'm guessing King's in his 20s.
Finnan.
The only other person, only people I hear use the word finna, people in their 20s, like my son.
What is
finna?
What is finna? What is finna?
Gonna.
I'm
finna,
gonna.
Finna, just means gonna.
I'm finally gonna do it. Is that what that means?
It came out of the hip hop world where guys with the bling can't talk. The grills, they can't talk, so they came up with their
talk. What are you doing? No. Listen, many of those guys actually went to school, and I'm not joking when I say this. Got a psychology degree, so
Pedro,
they can understand people.
1%. Most of them are like all the hip hop guys in Chicago, whose average lifespan ends at age 26. They just all they do is just get murdered in Chicago. They come out, they have so much bling in their mouth they can't even talk. And then 2 days later, they're gunned down in Chicago.
Breaks my heart, man.
He's 38. I'm just from the hood, and we can't talk.
Honestly, all that bright mind, like
Pedro's a hood rat too.
I wouldn't say I'm a hood rat. I'm saying that there's brilliance there. There's brilliance in there. There's absolute. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday at a nice restaurant, and we were talking, and I can tell, he's an African American, and we're going back and forth, and I said the biggest heartbreak is the lack of human capital that gets pulled out and put into the world that are Black African men. The brilliance that is in jail or dead now are literally and I mean this is super important. In jail, it's 10% of the people there that are geniuses, whereas in the regular population, it's 1%. And since 80% of the population in jail is literally African American, the genius of the African American society is literally being locked up for their own stupidity, because a lot of them, I hate to say it, and you can go look all these numbers up.
Yeah, no, we get it. You're going on, Pedro.
You're right.
The topic killer.
Finnan
getting gunned down in Chicago. That's King. Thank you for your service. He's 10 years in the Army on February 9th.
Thank you. Appreciate your
Pedro.
service,
Pedro is a coastie and was in 10 years?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah. Around like 9.5. Yeah. 9.5, 10 years. So I got out. Anyways, long story short, it kind of got weak, just saying. And it was time for me to go. I needed to be there. I needed to get out and do my own thing. But thank you for your service, brother. I appreciate you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. We're big military supporters here.
Yep, absolutely. One of our guys does a whole entire project specifically for actually taking care of veterans who have PTSD, that are struggling with life.
Yeah, you'll see him if you come over to Rumble, you'll see Crypto Mike in the chat. Crypto Mike is a Canadian Armed Forces, got blowed up in Afghanistan, and is dealing with a lot of issues, but he's a loyal viewer. He was on earlier, but he had to run.
Yeah, good guy, love him.
He says it's
Something-
Black History Month, and I approve his message. I'm picking up what he is putting down. Good job, my
on,
friend.
brother.
Good job.
You know what I'm saying, dude? And it's the biggest travesty of human society. That's the thing that bothers me is the
Human capital
flourishment.
being lost. Yeah.
Yes,
I
that
know
is
what
what
you mean,
just
Pedro.
kills me.
I'm
It
from
kills
Chicago.
me.
The
kills me.
the loss of life, especially in the Black community, is something I have just no experience with except reading the news. Well, I gotta tell you, Mrs. Striking is back from her thing, and in Chicago, I showed Mrs. Striking her first murder scene. I literally asked her, I'm like, you want to see a murder scene? Because I saw all the cops in an intersection, and we were in part of town, and I was like, there's gonna be one, and I was like, oh, there's one. You drove around, you can see the sheet over the body and stuff like that, and I mean, it's awful. It's terrible.
It's and here's the thing. I was mean this and gentlemen. I said the way you stop it, and he said he was about to say fathers, and I said fathers first, and we both looked at each other and we were like, yes, that's the issue. Like that's exactly what it was. We were both doing that, and we were in a place that was predominantly white. I'm just saying, it was funny. And one of the ladies kind of looks at us as we're like, and she shook her head and was like, and I said, if literally, it doesn't even matter if you black, white, Mexican, you just get in there and just say, we care about you, we love you, stop this, there's better ways. Like, kids would listen. I've seen kids listen. Anyways, I'm getting way too passionate. Let's keep moving. We're talking about finance here. But that is finance. Sorry.
Well, that's what, when we talk about these immigration problems.
Yeah.
Like here in Canada, they bring in millions of people illegally, and it's like the mantra is like, oh, well, we're helping out our country by providing a labor force and growing our population because we need to have more population, blah blah blah. Do you know what you do to those home countries? What's left when you take out their best and brightest, or anyone that has, not anyone, but everyone that immigrates to somewhere else has initiative. I got to do something to change my life. All those countries are getting their best and brightest taken away from them under some altruistic thing like, oh, we're saving the world by letting all these people in our country. No, you're ruining the rest of the world because now these countries, all the good people who want to change something have given up, have left. And you take their smartest, all their college graduates and their university students, and you take them out of the countries that they're coming from, and you say, oh, welcome to Canada. And now their home country is nobody. And like, oh, we can't understand the cycle, why everyone here is left is uneducated and corrupt. It's because the educated ones left because you gave them a chance to leave.
Yeah, and it's
not ending.
Like, look, let them build their own nations. I promise you, like, one of the biggest issues that we see in Mexico is one, and listen, my large portion of my family who came from Mexico, and I'm talking within one generation, right? Not like, a couple generations. I'm talking like I'm first generation, right? My cousins were all, majority of them were actually born in America, came over to say illegally, but then got their citizenship. Many of them have college educations. They've worked their ass off. They're huge proponents. And I hate to say this, but most people don't even realize this, but it is the Hispanic culture that put Trump in, and still the Hispanic culture that supports Trump. Like, we need to bring Justin Wallin back on to talk about a lot of the statistics that are not being talked about in politics or in news sourcing that is just doesn't be talked about. Like, there's a lot of stuff, like 70% of people agree on both ends, on the blue and red side, that say, hey, yes, we want voter registration that actually goes through and checks IDs. That's a crazy amount. Yet the Senate is passing this law against that. And it's like, no, you're voting against your constituents who are put you there for certain purposes.
Pedro, I don't understand it. I don't understand.
Dude, it is crazy.
The guy in Minnesota, the election official in Minnesota said, yes, it's possible for illegal aliens to vote in Minnesota. Because there's just a box that check when you go to vote. Are you a U.S. citizen? Or when you sign up to vote. Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes. There's no checking. In Illinois, they check. They're like, show me you got a passport? You got something? Got it? In Minnesota, nope. You just check the box saying, yes, I am. There's no verification. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Love
Craziest thing
it.
I heard in my life.
Shout out. Sorry. Side note. Yeah, I agree with that. Crazy. I can't see it. Cool. I can't see that. I gotta put my glasses on. Check out the.
Yes, that's right. Yesterday, I donated. I sent some Tether Gold to his channel. He was streaming. He's been on part of the creator program here on Rumble for the past couple of days. He's been here, I think you said 2 months or something on YouTube. Whoa, deja vu. On Rumble, and is liking it, and it really is a better community. The Rumble people do a good job mixing with each other. Pedro, I've been going around using the Rumble wallet and Tether Golding other creators to get them to, since I support them, get them to support us, and that's exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm always looking for good content creators, people who are actually spitting facts. Here, you go here, you can check this out, like the idea, like just open dialect between real issues. And again, I want you to call me in. If I'm being an idiot, I want you to call me in and say, bro, you're not looking at the hard facts here. Where's your reality, right? And I'm like, okay, let me question myself, right? I think that stuff is so important. And in Rumble, you can actually do that. And there's people out there that are idiots. I'm like, you're an idiot. This is the reason why. And they'll be like, yeah, I see your view. No, you're the idiot because da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, no, you're the idiot because da-da-da-da-da-da. And we're not. But the thing is we're both laughing at the same things of like, I'm seeing it from this view, you're seeing it from view. But the key is we're both headed towards an equitable exchange between each other. And I feel like that's definitely more open here on Rumble than any other platform.
Yeah. Just a quick note. The show's going to come to end in here in a minute, but I'm going to shut off the YouTube stream right now. So all of you watching on YouTube, I'll give you the kabong, but it's not for the rest of you. So thanks for everyone who watched us on YouTube, today.
Wait.
No,
Sorry.
I'm doing this for a reason.
I know. I'm going to post our link so they can come over here to Rumble.
Oh, I had for a while. I had the Rumble QR code up, and that's how.
I got you. Okay.
That's how King found us on. But anyway, everyone else, hold on 1 second. Kabong!
That is legit. If somebody else is blaring, was it like Jesus? If Jesus comes in, he's got that playing in his business. That sound probably echoes throughout his whole entire car dealership.